year. So the one you approved last year was actually less information than this one.
I know. I thought, well, this is expanded, but you say between now and then, I did the ICS.
You did the ICS training.
Okay.
I thought there was one
Well,
that
I
didn't
just,
require a
they just-
password.
Yeah.
Seemed like it would be good to, you
They
know,
all do.
Right, yeah.
connect it, that's all, you know,
Not sure.
but,
Try to avoid public Wi-Fi. In no dimension.
oh,
While there,
did it a couple weeks ago.
City Hall opens, the one I was
didn't see it. Yeah. It'll be whacked again in a couple weeks.
Summertime.
Well, I go on a trip, last thing I want is any long hair.
It looks really good.
Yeah, thanks. You know, everybody's different. Some you like, some you don't. It's like, okay, this grows out, and one thing will want.
I like it. It's straighter. When it's longer, it looks curly.
Well, it's wavy. It's wavy more than curly. I mean, this is just, that shows curl when it's longer.
Yeah. There was no radio traffic.
Somebody had
You didn't, you asked if any, there was any, recording or record of somebody emailing and there was nothing. You're welcome to come listen to the tapes that day.
So how would the meter make it non-default?
They walk down there.
They walk all over the place.
They walk all over.
We hear about it, believe me.
On the streets that has no meters.
Yeah, they
They
do.
look for, they look for.
They look for people to boot.
You can argue this till you're blue in the face, but you're not allowed to park in front of it.
Why all the construction trucks that have been there for months not got tickets?
I remember his name.
Tell me that.
I'm not telling you. I'm telling you, you can't park in front of a hydrant.
But neither can everybody else and not get ticketed.
Maybe you'll get away
No one
with
sent them for you.
parking. I don't think
No
so.
one sent them for you.
But her response is not.
How we doing? How we doing?
Yes, it's certified.
Yeah.
If I later find they do.
You do what you gotta
Happy
do.
to certify that. I got it from the police. I'm happy to certify.
Short quorum list today.
Oh, well.
Because everyone wanted to be able to be at the parade. So like, 5
Oh,
minutes, if
yeah.
there's no quorum, done.
Right.
Like 5 minutes ago, there were only 2 of you.
Yeah. You almost made it, huh? To the, with the
Or
no.
would we do like,
No meeting,
is there
no
some
forum?
deliberate effort to try to like post it? So that's all he was raising, I think.
Gonna look at least slightly official here.
There you go.
This is the contract.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he.
I
can-
know,
think he
so
can
well, I
work
had
with
to testify today.
how I was thinking it was like. So he was like, I don't want to slow down anything, I just want to like. And then just like.
Oh, on the energy efficiency truck. All right, welcome. So the first order of business is to review and approve the agenda. So there are a few changes to the agenda. One is from the consent agenda, we removed item B.
C and D.
Oh, C and D, yep. It goes A, B, E, F, G, right, okay. So those have already been removed from the online version of the agenda. And then we will not be taking up item 6, which is the fiscal year energy use report. They needed a little more time for that, so that will be on an upcoming agenda. I think that is it for changes to the agenda. Any other thoughts, comments on the agenda? Nope. Okay. So without objection, we'll consider the agenda approved. So the next thing is general business and appearances. So this is a time for any member of the public to come address the council on any issue otherwise not on the agenda. And if you would keep your comments to 2 minutes or less, and say your name and where you're from.
I apologize for not getting to print something that I needed to refer to earlier. So I will. I guess the fact that the emergency management plan is on the consent agenda means it's fruitless to provide detailed comments on its strengths or weaknesses, but that's an issue that I pay some attention to. I want to note that first I want to refer to a piece that Bernie Lambeck, and I'm happy to send it electronically, posted on Front Porch Forum, and it relates to something I said at your last meeting. Pardon my... And I'll just quote, it's a couple of paragraphs, but I'm going to just quote the last of it. My view, and this is Bernie Lambeck, the damage inflicted on this community arising from the polarized personal attacks against fellow members of this community is far greater than the damage that will be caused either by building the garage or by not building the garage. We are neighbors. I think there's some wisdom in that, and there's some caution. I cautioned at the last meeting that we need to have a plan B. The division is between merchants who won't talk to people on the sidewalk that they rely on for their business is recurring damage. The press related to, the recent press related to the ongoing litigation and the stalled garage extensively quotes city officials that allude to violations of a confidentiality agreement, which I won't pretend to know anything about. I'm not party to those conversations or that litigation, but when I know that I articulated a number of the same concerns that the garage opponents have related to inadequacy of a traffic study, these construction impacts and mismanagement that I've brought to your attention are perfect examples of that. And for city officials to tell the press, we don't know what they want, they're all just wasting our time, is disingenuous. It's flat out disingenuous. We need to handle this delicate and damaging division in our community carefully, and it's not being done that way. I'll also cite an article on the construction impacts where our assistant city manager is quoted as saying, my concerns had been addressed. Bill knows and took his own photos. The gravel in the area where the road base without a silt fence was allowed to drape down into the river has not been addressed. It's all still there, still falling into the river, covering a riverbank that should have been cleaned. So my concerns were not addressed. I asked the city council to ask A&R to issue a fine. You know, do some enforcement action. That's the only way to manage these multi-million-dollar contractors. They only respond to their pocketbook. So it was not addressed. It was false to tell the press that it was addressed. That's about all I can do in the 2 minutes. Sorry.
No worries, thank you. And I just want to also affirm that, that personal attacks are not necessary, and I'm really grateful to people to have civil conversation. All right, and that people can, disagree about things, and that's okay. Other comments? Yes.
Hello. So my name is Laura Gebhardt. I'm the Executive Director of the Montpelier Development Corporation. I'm in my final days as the director, so I just wanted to come and give you an update. And I have Sarah Jarvis with me as well, who's the Vice Chair of the MDC Board of Directors. So I'll allow her to speak on behalf of the board, but I just wanted to thank you all for the time that I've been here and getting to work with all of you and learn from you. It's been incredibly meaningful and valuable, so thank you. I am leaving for personal reasons, and I get to pursue something that I'm deeply passionate about. So I'm excited about that, but also saddened to be leaving this community. Economic development is a multifaceted, collaborative endeavor, and so I'm hopeful that even when I'm gone, that will continue, and this position gets to continue to work with the council and with the city staff. So I'm incredibly appreciative to all of you, and for us to be able to have civil dialogue around a lot of different issues. So that's been really wonderful. And I'll let Sarah speak on behalf of the board.
Thanks. Sarah Jarvis. As Laura said, I'm the vice chair of the board. I'm a former city council member, for those of you who weren't there, and actually took my seat when I stepped off the council. So But I just wanted to also reiterate the thanks for your support for the organization. We are quite sad to have Laura move on from our organization and be able to follow her passion, her dream, taking a coaching position. But just wanted to, be clear that the organization is much more than one staff person. We're a very committed board of community members, professionals in the community who care very much about this community, people like myself who want to make sure the community is affordable for our children and that our children will want to be in this community, that it's vibrant, there's a lot going on. We have actively started recruiting for Laura's replacement. We already have 20-something applications that we've received, so there's a lot of interest in the organization. There's a lot of interest in Montpelier, too. It's really interesting to get some out-of-state applications, people saying they've heard about Montpelier, they've heard that we have an appetite for sustainability and growth and change, and also that they see some of the motives of board members like myself, which are that we want to make sure that the community can afford to carry out the kinds of goals that we have as a group. I think that we share them with you as a council in terms of making sure we can carry out some of our really public-minded goals of lifting up the whole community and figuring out how to do that in a way that's sustainable and affordable. So again, thank you for your support, and we will keep you posted as we move forward.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay, on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion regarding the consent agenda?
Didn't you want to pull item G?
Oh, yes, thank you, I'm sorry. My hope is that we could pull item G off of the consent agenda, because I think we probably want to discuss that. Is there a motion with that perhaps included, or not, either way?
So moved.
Further comments? Yes?
About the motion,
Mhm.
there are two marked here expected to
Done.
We've already,
Thank you. There are two here that say they're expected to be removed. Does the motion include them being removed?
we already took those off when you approved the agenda.
I
But
got the
good-
alphabet confused, sorry.
Good clarification, though.
Okay.
So just to clarify, it does not include items C or D, right? Right?
Yes.
Okay, and Connor, that's okay? Great, okay.
So C and D and G.
Yes. Jack?
I don't think this merits a lot of discussion, but I noticed one phone number that wasn't right in the emergency plan. Should I just give that to the chief?
Yes. Great. Okay. Motion on the table. Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I think we should just go right to item G, the reaffirmation of the Sanctuary City Declaration Resolution. So I wanted to pull that off of the consent agenda just because I thought we ought to talk about it. But this had also come from Councilor Hill. Do you want to speak to this at all?
So a few people had reached out to me after the sort of nightmare going on the federal level. And I thought it made sense. I know that there have been some changes to state law regarding fair and impartial policing and any sort of cooperation with Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Customs and Border Patrol. So it seems like it would be a ripe time to reaffirm our commitment to being a city where everyone belongs and everyone is welcome to be, and also to just clean up some of the language to reflect changes to state law.
Great. Any comments from the, well, I'll take first council comments. Any council comments on this? Jack?
I had more of a question than a comment, and that was whether someone could explain what the import of the change from the old version to the new version is.
Chief is.
So the change really has to do with that, if we were to ask, it narrows the scope and we had to change it to criminal investigations only. We have no jurisdiction or authority to participate in or be part of a civil enforcement action regarding immigration. In 2017, Act 79 was passed with bipartisan support and signed by Governor Scott. I was there for the signing, and what that made clear was that Vermont law would comport with the two, in particular, two necessary federal statutes. So we, to alleviate, in Vermont's view, that we would still be eligible for federal funding and so forth. And needless to say that some of the Justice Department, that was still not far enough. But anyway, but that is really the key change. And our model policy that Montpelier PD has adopted is a statewide policy that includes updated language. And what also, we had additional language before in our policy that we had to remove that, so it did comport with the necessary state law now.
Great, thanks.
Further questions or comments from the council, just initially? Okay. Comments from the public? If anyone wants to comment on this. Welcome.
Good evening. Pam Walker from Loomis Street, and I, plus two others of us back here, excuse me, represent Central Vermont Refugee Action Committee, Refugee Action Network, I should say. And we're just so thrilled with this resolution. We think it's very, very important. And our mission is to support and advocate for immigrants, migrants, refugees, and we have a lot of different projects and programs that we are involved in to make all that happen. So thank you for this, and we hope that it passes. And we really trust that the city police will be respectful of immigrants and migrants as they're in the city and not cooperate with ICE. We know that FIPP is working hard on ensuring that that happens. So thank you for bringing this up, and I hope that it will be signed finally today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for your organization's great work. Further comments? Lauren?
I would just say I was not here for the last round, so I'm excited to be able to vote on this and appreciate the work that went into crafting this last round and then the updates this time. So, thank you.
Cool. Is there a motion?
I move that we adopt the resolution to designate Montpelier as a sanctuary city.
I'll second it.
Is amended,
As well.
with the proposed amendments?
With the proposed amendments.
And that's okay with
Second,
Donna?
yes.
Okay. Further discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you all. Okay. Okay. Great, thank you. So many papers. All right, so moving on. We are up to an appointment for the Complete Streets Group. And for this appointment, we had 3 vacant seats and 1 applicant. Is Phoenix Mitchell here? Seeing as this person is not here, we should probably still go into executive session, probably. So is there a motion to go into executive session?
I move that we go into executive session pursuant to 1 VSA section 317.
313A.
313A blank. 3.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we will be right back.
What? Oh. Couldn't see past my technology.
could do, and I believe, I'm just checking the, I'm just quickly looking at the charter to see if that might even be specifically listed as one of the council's duties.
Well, while you're looking for that, perhaps we could add a sentence that would be to the effect of, you can find the purchasing policy in the city council handbook or in some other document. Does that, so it's maybe not a part of our ordinances, but if someone were to look it up here, they would know where to go to find it. Does that sound reasonable?
That sounds reasonable. Even, you could even go a step further and say the city council shall adopt a purchasing policy. So that there is one in place,
Yeah,
and
it does change.
and then it can change from time to time without having to go through the whole ordinance amendment process.
Ashley?
I wonder if just instead of saying the council shall, I mean, we can insert that as well, because I think that is an obligation of the council, but all purchases of goods shall be performed in accordance with a purchasing policy as adopted by the city council. So you don't need a separate section, it's just, and it lets you know where to go right away.
Yeah, that's fine.
That sounds good. Is that satisfactory to you, Lauren? Okay.
Yes, thanks.
Other comments on that? Okay. All right. Any comments from the public on Chapter 2? Okay. I don't want to cut off any other comments on Chapter 2 from the council. Okay. All right. So I'm going to close the public hearing, and I think we probably need to vote on setting a date for the second reading, which will be May 22nd, our next meeting. Is there a motion regarding the next hearing?
Second.
Okay. Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Oh, sorry, this is just food for thought. Examination of records fee, section 2405.
Okay.
Such fees shall only be payable in cash or check prior to leaving the office of the city clerk. We don't take cards.
Well, we were just,
We just
we were
did
just,
Did I?
we brought that up, yeah.
I just said,
Sorry.
So that's a part of it. It's okay.
It was on my list of
it's okay.
We
Great
got
minds
you.
think alike.
We got you.
don't take cards.
But we might.
But
at
you
some
could,
point.
right, you could. We don't want to rule it out.
Hey, I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Keeping
think
up
we
with the
just say,
times.
I think we should just say in payment
For
as
electronic
determined by
payment.
the clerk or treasurer or something like that.
Yeah.
And- Yeah. Well, whatever, but rather than list what they are, because, you know, you could take Apple Pay or whatever sometime. You know, I mean, who knows, right?
Who knows?
So-
Okay. All right, so next up is reviewing our strategic plan that we,
Did we vote? I don't
Did
think
we
we
vote
voted.
on the motion?
oh,
to
I'm
read it for
sorry,
the
I'm
second time?
one step behind. Good points. We had a motion and a second. Further discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great. Thank you. Keeping me straight here. Okay, so moving on to adopting the strategic plan. So this document basically that we came up with through retreat time. And there was one thing that I wanted to change, but I'm going to find it here quickly. Any other comments on the strategic plan?
I'll just add that what you have before you is the report from Julia and the overall summary that was discussed. What isn't here that you'll have at the next meeting is, you may recall, one of the things we talked about was everything that was undone from this present year would carry forward. So we'll have a more full list of all the items as well as some of the backup department work. So you just get a bigger picture of the work plan and the projected schedule for the year when they would be coming to the council. So we're working on that now, hopefully for the next meeting. And but we wanted to make sure you got, this was the first chance to see the report since we got it, since you've met, since we received it, so. Any comments or concerns or questions?
All right, other comments? I just want to observe that on energy disclosure, energy efficiency and disclosure issues, that comes up twice. And in one place it says pursue an energy efficiency and disclosure policy, and the other place it just says pursue an energy efficiency disclosure policy, so it's just missing an and that's on page 7, so it's pretty straightforward. Other comments? Donna, go
I
ahead.
had one tiny little question, and it has to do with the planning framework, page 15. To develop strategies to eliminate roof dam connections.
Page 15.
It should be drain, right?
It's
where
under
were you?
initiatives,
Yeah, which one?
environmental stewardship, and then you go to initiatives, and then you go like 3 sentences down.
Oh, yeah, roof. It
Roof
should
drain.
be drain, yeah.
Roof
Okay.
drain.
Wow, good
Yes.
catch. Further comments? Okay, is there a motion regarding adopting our strategic, oh, actually, I'm sorry. Yes, the public, yes, please. Awesome. Welcome.
Hi, Peter Kelman, is this working?
I think so.
Peter Kelman, I'm representing the advisory committee, the Social and Economic Justice Advisory Committee, and we will be, members of our committee will be attending city council meetings on a regular basis. In keeping with our, part of our charge, which is to collaborate with city councilors and relevant other city committee members to support them in centering the experiences of oppressed groups and individuals as they consider policy decisions regarding city operations. So first, I just wanted to commend the city council and the people who participated in this process. The part, and I'm glad that Bill pointed out that this is not the entire result. This is like a summary of the, maybe even a
Executive
summary of the summary. What is terrific in this report are the aspirational parts of it. If you go through the strategic outcomes, all of those introductory paragraphs, which I think were actually came from last year as well, are fantastic. And we can hardly wait to see the meat. And when you get to the meat, I hope you will not only be considering populations that are not currently served as well as they might be, but also when there might be unintended negative impacts on those populations. It's not always obvious. You can be very much for something without realizing, oh, what's that going to mean for poor people? Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Any further comments? Okay. Is there a motion to adopt our strategic plan?
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so the motion carries. Yes,
I
Ashley.
just have I think that this process the last 2 years compared to the year before that, this has been amazing. And I really, I know that Julia books well in advance, and I know that we're sort of binding a future council to something, but I feel very strongly that she has the approach that we need as a city to do this work. And so I would like to see if we could all agree to having Bill reach out and get her availability so that we can make sure we can do this again to build off where we've been the last 2 years.
Jack?
I think that might require a little more discussion. Not that I'm saying she's terrible or anything like that, but it wasn't the same as last year, and I think that there's some value to having a consultant with a different perspective. And so I'm just saying, I think it might be more of a discussion than that.
Shall we revisit that Ashley, thoughts? Yeah.
Well, so I guess it's the kind of thing that I would really like to do sooner rather than later. So I know our next agenda is kind of busy,
No,
but
that's
I think it's a really important piece of the work that the council is going to be doing. So if
Yeah, just looking at the agenda over there, the upcoming agendas, what would you think about talking about it in June, like June 12th?
is that enough time to,
Plenty.
Okay.
She books in advance, but not that far.
Okay.
Well, I've had some consultants
Yeah.
where it's like a year
Yeah,
out,
right.
so.
No, fair enough. So we'll look at, I think that's a great conversation to have, and let's do it, let's aim for June 12th and go from there. Does that sound okay to others? Okay. Great. We are going to set a new record here in terms of being done with this meeting, team. I know. Yeah, right. Okay. Summer meeting schedule. Speaking of summer agendas. Yeah, I'm going to.
So, I mean, we just threw this out, but obviously, we've talked in the past about, or in most recent years, we've dropped at least one summer meeting. And so we suggested the schedule that worked best for staff, but recognizing that may or may not work best for the council members. But figured you had to start discussion somewhere, so.
Donna.
Well, I must say, I like it because July is one of those 5-week months. So it gives us a nice span of time.
I would
Yeah, Ashley.
just want to let everybody know the July meeting, I will actually be at the same program that the mayor attended last year. So I won't be here in person, and depending on what things look like, I may be able to call in, but.
You should not plan to call in. Just be there.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be great.
So you don't even miss one in July?
Only
this
miss
way?
one. Right.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
the-
only one theoretically scheduled for
I
July
know,
if
right.
we,
Yeah.
But yeah, the program
Yeah.
starts that week and then goes till the end of the month.
Okay. So does canceling the July 24th meeting work for folks? Yeah? Okay. Well, wow, there's no, yes, Jack.
If it's fine with everybody else, I'll be happy with it, but the 21st of August is not the best night for me to have a meeting.
Donna.
Yes, that made it, was that intentional, Bill, that changed it to the 3rd Wednesday instead of the 4th?
No, that may have just been,
Oh, that's just a type.
it should have been the 28th, right?
Yeah.
28th should have been, okay.
Good.
Good catch.
The 21st is my anniversary, so.
Oh, well,
Congratulations.
Well, doesn't she want to come and sit with us?
She watches at home.
Glenn.
Since that came up that the 21st was not the intended date, it looks like we also have a 1-week gap between the two June meetings as proposed, the 12th and the 19th.
Yeah, that should also not be
Should be the 26th.
26th, yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, I
call.
think it still works for me, but
I didn't want to have a meeting on Juneteenth either.
I was looking forward to calling that out, but it's okay.
Okay. Do we need to vote on?
You should, probably.
Yeah, okay.
I'll add one thing, which is just my annual caveat, that even though we're canceling the regular meeting, that we reserve the right to call a special if we need contracts approved, or those kind of, obviously probably warned, but could be call-in meetings. Occasionally, we've had 5-minute meetings to do certain business, so doesn't mean you won't be called into duty, but we won't have a regular full council night agenda.
Okay. Is there a motion to amend the summer schedule as discussed?
So I would move that we amend the city council summer meeting schedule to reflect meetings on June 12th, June 26th, July 10th, August 14th, and then we decided August 28th.
Yeah, those are regular.
And I assume those meetings would start at 6:30? Okay.
Second.
Further discussion?
I just have a question of posting our regular meeting dates. The only date we're changing
Is the one.
is the July.
So we will just note that that's been canceled.
Okay, I guess I just feel more comfortable making the motion to change that one meeting unless people will think these are not our regular dates. These are our regular
No,
dates.
these are our regular dates. I think she was just responding
Okay.
I was
to
just
what was in
making-
this
like, I was just-
agenda
I
item.
understand
Clarifying
that.
all the dates
I
and-
just felt, just asking if we just wanted to change the one date, not meet on July.
I think that's, well, I think that's sort of the
24th.
same,
Okay.
the same thing, so. Did you have a comment? No? Okay. You're okay with that? Okay, great. Further discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, so we're going to go to council reports. Would anybody in particular like to start? Go ahead, Donna.
Sure. The Montpelier Infrastructure Transportation Infrastructure Committee met just last evening, and one of the things that they had a discussion about were proposals who are soliciting money from the group to sponsor unusual projects, and one was coffee pooling. So instead of carpooling, they're using the word coffee. And it's a gentleman from Worcester who he just appointed to the MTICS committee. And his idea is to have the cafe in Worcester and the cafe on Elm Street, Birch Garden, Grove, both be a place where people can pick up tokens. You pay $1 for the token, and then you have this ride. And you turn the token into the driver. The driver then has $1 off at that cafe. And the idea of this is trying to reduce the amount of cars going up and down Route 12 towards Worcester and Montpelier. And he's a bike rider, but not, some weather he doesn't ride, and so he got hitchhiking. He thought, why not make it a little more formal, but yet still loose, and wants to try this. So his application hasn't been approved, but I thought it was a really neat idea, cafe to cafe. And it's a way to help people just spontaneously be innovative to help everyone get around. So
Love it.
we'll keep you posted if it goes through. Oh, and the other thing, just language-wise, in staff as well as city council members, we need to remind ourselves that it's not a bike path anymore. And every document I see on that, I mark it up, but I don't always remember to tell staff or other people. It's a shared use path. It does take in pedestrians, major, major issue.
Thank you. Good call. Connor.
All right. I was invited to attend the Social and Economic Justice meeting last night. We're very well represented by 3 people in the room. Peter, Jamie is awesome, and Lauren, of course, I think has added a lot to that committee. But I just wanted to say I think it was valuable. I was invited in to talk about the responsible contracting ordinance, and I had said to them, I heard this committee was a bit chaotic, but I could see through the chaos, a real light at the end of the tunnel here. They sort of put you through the gauntlet and ask you, especially Peter, he was like a Jack Russell Terrier on your leg, but they'll put you through the gauntlet, and I think it's good for the process because you can hammer out a lot of these things before you bring it to this stage here. And I think it might just be something to keep in the forefront of our minds if you have something that's transportation related, bring it in front of the committee, and it'd probably save time at our own council meetings. But I thought the racial equity toolkit, which they're converting into the sort of equity toolkit to broaden it on a bunch of issues, can be really valuable, just as sort of 6 steps that you put it through, and any proposal, and just make sure that it benefits everybody in the community. So I was really impressed. Other thing to note, I attended the VCFA reception with the board the other night there. Had a great chat with some of the board members, and I sat next to Margaret Patterson, who's the author of Bridge to Terabithia and a number of other young adult novels.
You mean Catherine?
Catherine, oh geez, yeah. Sorry, Catherine.
Next to me too long.
But I hadn't realized that Catherine recently moved to our community, so what a great treasure we have, just welcoming Margaret here. No, just kidding. Catherine here, so it's great to have her there. And we should talk about the micro transit committee that we sat in at some point, because we actually got to see the technology work, the last one Donna and I were, and it actually made it quite real, I thought, for the first time. There was this concept in my mind, but having them walk through it, made me think it was something that was actually like quite viable, so I was impressed.
They showed the software from the dispatcher's point of view, from the rider's point of view, and the driver's point of view. It was very interesting, the software, what you saw on your phone or your iPad. It was very good. Cool.
And I'm good.
Good.
So first I have to let the council know that I am stepping off of the Montpelier Transportation Infrastructure Committee because I realized that it meets on the same exact schedule as the TW Wood Board, which I should have realized when I first got onto it, but I didn't. So I think with both Donna and Jack on that committee, we probably have adequate representation. But I apologize for my screw up. For the Wood Gallery, I was just at the board meeting on Monday. No, I suppose it was yesterday, Tuesday. And I have good news from the Wood Gallery. There is a new executive director, just hired, Margaret Coleman from Burlington. She seems great, and I'm looking forward to working with her. We are bidding a fond farewell to Ginny Callan, who's run it for the last couple of years. She will, of course, stick around, and she's overlapping with Margaret for a little while. But that is the news there. I visited Another Way last Monday for their weekly community meeting, and that continues to be a really valuable thing for me to talk to those folks. And I'm hopeful that it will, at some point, be useful to them too. I know right now, and over the last couple of weeks since the shelters shut down for the season, lots of people who come through Another Way are in need of camping gear, among other things. So if anyone has good, usable quality tarps, ponchos, tents, sunscreen, tick spray, sleeping bags and pads, little first aid kits, just about anything along those lines. There's a long list, but if you have those things, take them over to Another Way. People can really use them. I like the reminder that we should be calling the bike path the shared use path. And in my parlance, I'm going to start calling it the SUP, I think, for the SUP, in a similar way that I call the Water Resource Recovery Facility the WRF. So I think we could get quicker on those things. The SUP, the Sibawinnaby SUP,
Yeah,
is that
there it
right?
is.
Part of it anyway?
Winnipeg, yeah.
So, looking forward to that. We got to watch the SUP bridge get installed out our back door from the drawing board last week, and that was fantastic and really thrilling. And I can't wait for it to be open. I am going to run across twice. And
Over and back.
over and back, at least. And then tomorrow morning I'll be at Baggitos from 8:30 to 9:30 as usual. Looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
Ashley.
So, couple of things. So this coming Friday in Barrie City, the Washington County State's Attorney's Office, along with Vermont Legal Aid and a number of volunteer lawyers, is hosting an expungement clinic. So for folks with certain kinds of convictions, they can come in, speak with an attorney who can advise them. My office will be there to review requests and answer questions for defense attorneys. And that'll be from 3 to 7 p.m. In Barrie City at the Memorial Auditorium. There is an event on Facebook as well. I shared that, but I figured I'd put it out here as well. I also wanted to highlight, I did not call dispatch about this last night, but I did notice again today an issue at the intersection of Sibley and College. There's some water coming up and running
So
down.
we have a malfunctioning valve. It's on a water lane break.
Okay.
And they're trying to figure out how to fix it. They may end up having to do a major dig and repair, but they're hoping they can,
Okay.
because it's 12 feet
Yeah,
down.
Yep. You had said to call and
Yep.
it sort of slipped my mind, but, the only other thing, that I would highlight, a good friend of mine, died a year ago, of a fatal heroin overdose here in Montpelier. There was a relatively significant, or some significant drug activity going on, up at the Econo Lodge recently. And I just want to reiterate for anyone in our community who is struggling with addiction, Montpelier Police are able to provide transportation for anyone looking to connect with a treatment provider. There are lots of meeting options. I know we still have a long way to go as a community to really destigmatize addiction, but at this point, there's really there are services available, and there are professionals who are willing to step up and step forward. And I hope at some point that we can make it a year with no drug-related overdose deaths here in town. But I just wanted to reiterate that those services are available, and that there are lots of people here, even at City Hall, who can direct you to people that can help you get where you need to go and help you get the services that you need.
Thank you. Jack?
Well, Ashley stole what I was going to say. Free expungement clinic coming up on Friday. It's one of the rare occasion where you will get to see prosecutors and defense attorneys working together to achieve a really beneficial social result. So if anyone out there is watching, you can walk in. You can also make an appointment at 424-4701. I've put the flyers around town in various places, including out here in the hallway. It's at Food Co-op and some other places. And I just think it's a great thing.
Cool. Lauren?
Great. I just wanted to thank the many city staff who have been giving me tours of facilities. I went to the WRF Water Resource Recovery Facility, got a good hour, 45-minute or so tour. It's fascinating, eager to see the new projects going in. The police chief and fire chief have both spent quality time and just continue to be so impressed with the really kind of caring and thoughtful approach that all the departments I've toured take with their important work they do for the city. So just wanted to thank all of them for the time and the work that they're doing, and look forward to learning a lot more of what's happening and how we can all continue to do even better together. Connor mentioned some of the social and economic justice advisory committee work. We did adopt a strategic plan, so when I get that final version, I'll send it around to everyone so people can see that, and I'm sure we'll post it. It might already be up. Not yet, but coming soon. And as we work on some of the more kind of tangible tools, but I think looking at the socially responsible ordinance concept and other things, it's starting to see how this group can play a good role in bringing an important equity lens to the work we're doing. So eager to do that. Thank you.
Great, thanks. So I just want to update folks that I testified this morning at the House Government Operations Committee on the energy efficiency charter change that passed on town meeting day. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's kind of up in the air at this point, and we will see where it lands. So there we are.
What were the prominent questions? Could you share?
Yeah, so they, as expected, were very, concerned about like how we would, address folks who couldn't afford to do energy efficiency work. And You know, I mean, to my mind, that is all part of the process, you know, between finding appropriate exemptions and or matching people with appropriate incentives. What my hope is that, you know, we would be able to address those concerns. In a certain sense, well, not in a certain sense, either way, I think we can start to have some just more public conversation about the direction that we go, probably starting sometime in June. So starting to get some specific ideas out there, start vetting them with the public, see how we can match, you know, regulation with incentives, and how we can come up with some logistics for how this would be implemented. Either way, I think it should be fine. And then one of the other, well, so with the new versus existing buildings, there was one fellow who asked if it was necessary to regulate existing buildings because just like with cars, the energy efficiency regulation for cars is only on new cars, but I pointed out that cars have a lifespan of about 10 years, and so there's, you know, that in 10 years there's going to be turnover, and that is just not the case with buildings. So there we are. Yep, so we'll see. All right. John. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Do we have any?
All right, so we do have an executive session at this point, I think. If
we have an
people anticipated executive session, if people want to do that. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
I move the council find that premature general public knowledge of of our positions in the ongoing litigation regarding the parking garage will clearly place this city at a substantial disadvantage by disclosing our ultimate positions.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so the motion passes, and we will.
Oh, nope, you need a second motion.
And I
Oh,
move that we
thank you.
enter
Good call.
executive session to discuss the parking garage litigation pursuant to Title I,
right,
Section 313A1.
Second.
E?
I think he has another letter there.
He's
Thank you, Jack.
There should be
Yeah.
E, okay.
Yep.
Second.
And Glenn is seconded. Okay, all those, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and so we will not be returning to take any action, so, yeah, that's otherwise it for the public session. Thank you.